So what is a good location? It depends on whether you're buying for investment or own stay. And then I want you to take note of these two things: who will rent from you and who will buy from you at a higher price. Before you actually execute and buy the property, you need to decide, okay? You need to be able to answer these two questions.
Hello, Earthling. We have abducted your fellow human Marvin Lee for our extraterrestrial research. We have found what he said on 1st June seminar about Park Colonial to be extremely...
Alright, so I'm going to share you the first strategy. Look for growth story. This is very, very important. Okay, growth story. What is growth story? So let's look at this project. Okay, I'm actually in charge of this project. It's called Park Colonial. Okay, and so 805 units and located just on top of Woodleigh MRT station, and it's opposite from Woodleigh Residences. Okay, and it is near to the integrated transport hub. Okay, which is so-called underground air-conditioned bus interchange. Okay, and it's also connected to the mall, connected to the MRT. Okay, and therefore, and it is also next to a international school, Stanford American International School. All right, so this is a brief introduction of the location. Okay, but isn't all projects going to be the same? Okay, next to MRT, certain features and things like that. I will bring out something different in the next slide. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of your agents will be showing you this thing called master plan. Okay, so this is from URA. It details the plans that the government will execute over a 5-year period. Okay, and it takes reference from this thing called the concept plan. All right, which is over a longer period of time. All right, so the brownish yellow things, the brown areas represent the residential areas. Okay, and of course the blue represents commercial. So what is A? A is Park Colonial, B is Woodleigh MRT station, okay, C is the underground bus interchange, and you have D, okay, an international school. All right, will it move away? Think about that. Then E, there's a green lung. Okay, how many places that you buy today, the government is going to set aside, allocate and build a green lung for you to breathe clean, fresh air. Okay, is that worth something to you, ladies and gentlemen? All right, and I wanted to show you something called X. Okay, X is something that happens in the master plan, the current master plan, that indicates that one day, maybe in the next or the next master plan, it may be developed into something else. All right, so the government has certain plans earmarked for this area, and it could be anything. But one thing I have to note, whenever the government plans, because land is so scarce in Singapore, okay, there will be a riot if we anyhow devalue the land, the use of the land. Therefore, usually there will be a higher intensity and usage of the land, and therefore bringing you better value. Okay, so this is a prediction. All right, and you have to read up the data to find out whether this is true in this case as well. All right, so as a potential buyer looking at this location, all right, can you see that you will have future amenities? Currently don't have. There's no mall just opposite you. There is no bus interchange. There's only the MRT. There's no, now it's not accessible for the park. You know, so in the future, in the near future, when all these are ready, will there be tenants who want to move to this area just because it is a better place? All right, so you can see that whenever there is a growth plan, there's a growth story for a particular area, the future is brighter, and therefore the prices might go higher. Why? Very simple. Developers are going to be interested because they have a story to tell, and the story is not their story. The story is the URA master plan, which is an initiative by the government to develop the land. All right, so things to note, MRT is a very important factor if you intend to rent out. Why? Very simple. Accessibility for the tenants. And typically, they appreciate quicker because the demand is stronger. The fact being that driving is no longer cheap. A lot of people are turning to public transport, and therefore, this gives you additional convenience. All right? So the thing to note, what is the growth story that I wanted to indicate for Park Colonial? Very simple. Okay, how often can you buy a property whereby the government builds a town around you. Okay, question is, whose money is being used to actually build this town, to develop this whole area? Okay, taxpayers' money, your money, my money. Okay, but who gets to benefit? Definitely only those who have a property who are vested in this area. They will be able to get or derive the value from this property. Okay, so this full development benefits will arrive or will be derived in a few years when the town is getting its shape. All right, so this is where you need to understand. When what Marvin says by going into growth areas is very simple. Look for that story. Jurong Lakeside, is there a story there? HSR, the high-speed rail, is there a story there? Okay, Jewel, if you are near to airport, what kind of tenant profile are you likely to get? You'll get cabin crew, air stewardess, and even home buyers who are working in the airlines as well. Okay, so you need to look at that. Okay, you need to look at the decentralization plan that the government has and this thing called growth areas under URA master plan. All right, and this value will be derived when you own a property there. Okay, remember, the monies that is spent will be public money, but you as an owner having a property, having a stake there, you will benefit from it. Okay, so the question is, when this whole thing is unfolded in years to come, what will the price, value, and the subsequent plots of land that are sold, what will the value be? Okay, so the property value of this Park Colonial is actually very good. Okay, you can see that we are on the second one, 91% sold. Okay, and next to our neighbor, the Trevor, we are about $169 PSF higher than them, but yet we are 90% sold. In other words, okay, price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Okay, purchasers, they appreciate the value in this location. All right, and they are willing to pay this because they know that they are likely to be able to get a higher exit. Somebody is willing to buy higher than them. Let me explain this to you. Okay, the property that is opposite of Park Colonial is actually Woodley Residences, and in the article, it was actually estimated that the average selling price will be about 2,000 per square foot. If you bought Park Colonial at 1,007, 1,008, you would have already built in a $200 PSF upside. Okay, so we talk about potential. All right, why do I say that that is something that is given? Well, very simple. They purchase at 2,000. They definitely would want to make $300 before they sell. Everybody purchase on average of 2,000, and therefore they will have to sell about 2,003 estimated. Okay, at that point in time, at what price can you let go your Park Colonial at? Okay, maybe 2001, 2002. Okay, depends on the market, definitely, but definitely you will have an upside built in due to land sales nearby. What if subsequent land sales are even more exciting? Okay, then your upside will be even higher. All right, the second strategy that I want to share with you is to ensure rentability. And then if you look at this, very simple. All right, these are two projects on the right. They are already TOP, they already have rental, and between them, okay, in this period of time, about 600 units that were transacted. All right, so it's a 2 years period, no doubt. But having said that, they are potential tenants. Why? Very simple. When Park Colonial or the Trevor or the Woodley, they TOP, these tenants, they will be staying in a property that is already much older. Okay, they may want to change to something that is newer, whereby they have warranty on their appliances. Therefore, if the attributes are similar, for example, St. Reed's and Poise Residences, they are just beside the Potong Pasir MRT station, then therefore, since it's similar, they can easily shift to one MRT down the road, which is Woodley. All right, and Park Colonial is just there. All right, so I'm going to show the next one. Okay, and of course, when you shift to Park Colonial, you are closer to Bidadari Park, you are closer to the Woodley Mall and the ITH. All right, so I'm going to show you a bit more so that you have a bit more confidence and you can apply this to all your investment selections. Okay, so in just that area itself, nearby to Park Colonial, you have Poise Residences, St. Reed's, Senate Residence, 8 Woodley, and Nin Residences. Between them, one year period, there are 803 rental transactions. Okay, so these people are qualified to be your immediate tenants when Park Colonial TOP. So do you think that they will want to have such a unit when it TOPs? All right. So the question that you may have is, oh, but Marvin, it has already been TOP. Can I still buy Park Colonial? Now, I told you that there are 3 strategies, right? But I can tell you the most important 2 will be the first 2. All right. Does it have a growth story? Because if it has a growth story, this growth story is not going to end today. It's not going to end tomorrow. It may end 5 years, 10 years later. This story will continue to play out. There will be more transactions, and the story can play itself out in a very, very nice way for you. All right. So the first thing, there must be growth. Second thing, I've already showed you that it is highly rentable. There is no fear that you will not get a tenant for Park Colonial. So can you still buy? Definitely. But before that, let me just show you this. 9th of April, circuit breaker started already. All right, there was a transaction for Avon Park just beside Park Colonial. And the owner actually made $1.7 million. $1.7 million. Okay, and that works out to a CAGR of 4%. But previous high was 1.19 million at 158%. And the annualized profit of 12%. In other words, you have a range, ladies and gentlemen, 4 to 12%. And the thing that I want you to know that I think is you can also get up to 12% in this location. Isn't that interesting? For a short period of time. How long was that? 8 years only. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have an investment holding period of 5 to 8 years, you could be like this owner if you purchase the right property with the right conditions. Okay, so between these 2, you can see that sometimes holding too long may not be right. At a certain point in time, when the property is getting older, you need to spend on taking care of it, and therefore, when that happens, there will be maintenance costs. So sometimes you need to touch base with your ER agent so that you can check with them whether when is the right time for you to switch into a better performing asset. Okay, good. All right, so I'm just gonna show you a little bit what it was like when we were marketing Park Colonial a few years ago in 2018. And I'll just stop there because it's going to be a long video, but I'll just show you this part. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, could it be that you have also seen Park Colonial and you're one of those who came but didn't manage to buy? But there must be a reason why there were throngs of people looking at this. In other words, they were excited about the story. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, the story. So when you have a very compelling story, the interest is very, very strong. Therefore, the next time you go for shopping, check with your ER agents. What are the exciting stories, growth stories that you can look into for your purchase? All right, so the answer is a very simple yes. You can still look at Park Colonial, and I will show you these are some of the units that are available, okay, and the pricing. And I can tell you that they are pretty good buys as well. Okay, your ERA salesperson, they have been trained how to look at this. They will be able to advise you further. Okay, one thing I want to want you to take note is layouts do matter as well. For example, this 2-bedroom, okay, stack 49. All right, this 2-bedroom is a very interesting one. Can you see that you have a ensuite unit, the master room, which is attached to the balcony? Then over here on the other side, you have a bedroom as well. So we call this the dumbbell layout, okay? But what is interesting, one of my buyers asked, is it possible for us to maybe just enclose this area and turn this into a room as well? So it becomes a 2-bedroom, okay? So the question is for you to explore, all right? So this is actually a very interesting layout that a lot of investors look at, all right? And then let's move on to the 3-bedroom, okay? And this is the 5-bedroom. Now, if you're looking at this particular location, you buy into the bidadari story, you realize that people are paying $400,000-$600,000 for HDB flat, okay? Then what kind of upside that will have for that area, okay? Look at this. You have a 5-bedroom, and this is the only 5-bedroom that is available in that whole area. If you do a search, and it's available at Park Colonial. So this is definitely something that you would want to explore if you are thinking of investing, okay, and investing in a large property. All right. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is the one. This is the 5-bedroom over here. Okay, and so it's starting from 2.878 million. Okay, very reasonable. Basically, the Avon Park owner, they could have taken the cash and just purchased full cash for this. Okay, the good news, ladies and gentlemen, is just a few days ago, the developer, for the very first time, has given a star buy promotion for Park Colonial. If you want to purchase a property that will have no problem getting future tenants to occupy your unit as an investment property, then why not consider and contact your ERA agents to explore the discounts that the developer are giving here. 18% for the 3-bedroom class, 18,000 for the 3-bedroom classic, 26,000 for the 2-bedroom deluxe, as well as 38,000 for the 3-bedroom deluxe. All right. Okay, so that is for Park Colonial. Let's apply this to another project. Hope you like my video and everything I've shown you makes sense to you. If for some reason you want to discuss anything with me at all, feel free to give me a call at 8444-5555 or WhatsApp me. Otherwise, you can always connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn by going to Marvin Lee Official. Remember to hit the like and the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that every time I upload a new video, you will be notified. Okay, so this is Marvin Lee, ERA Realty Network Private Limited Group Division Director, signing out. See you.